You gotta be quiet, bro.
Wise guys, 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 wise guys. These guys know sports. Yeah, yeah, yeah. These guys know sports. These guys know.
And welcome to Wise Guys. These guys know sports on this Wednesday, October the 7th, on the Wise Guys Show on the Worldwide Sports Network. Mr. Clarence Nixon joins me, my co-host. Clarence, what's up, bro?
Man, what's going on today, Trey? How you doing?
Doing pretty good. Everybody remember going follow Wise Guys on Twitter at WiseGuys_H, also on Facebook, Wise Guys. And be sure to follow Wise Guys on Instagram at These Guys Know Sports. Another day on the Wise Guys Show, Clarence. It is Wednesday. Feeling pretty good. You know, it's hump day. You know, I love my hump day. I love that midweek, you know, feeling because we always almost close to the weekend, bro. So definitely feeling good. Got my Jordan shirt on today. You know, feeling real good. MJ in the house. Had to show some love. Had to show some love for the GOAT. 6-time NBA champion. But you know, how's your Wednesday treat you, bro?
Man, it's been treating me well. You know, it's been static for me, like blessings after blessings, and I'm pumped up for tonight. But I see you pumped up before me. That's a bit of surprise.
I'm always pumped up. I'm always pumped up and ready to tear you up here on Wise Guys on the Worldwide Sports Network, bro. Because I always get the best of you, so it's nothing new. You know, I don't really have to do anything special or drink any kind of special water before the show because it's pretty easy to come on here and light you up on the sports show, especially when your personal feelings trump reality. Like when you say things like your Bengals are going to finish the season, you know, at 9-7 and make the playoffs, and then they can't even. They just now won their first game over the woeful Jacksonville Jaguars.
We won the game. The season goes on to Baltimore Sunday.
Oh, by the way, later on in the show, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to give Clarence a chance to explain why he believes Joe Burrow and his Cincinnati Bengals has an opportunity and has a chance to beat Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens on Sunday's game. So we're going to talk about that a little bit later on the show. Clarence is going to explain to you why he believes the Bengals have a chance to upset Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. But that's later on the show. Also later on the show, me and Clarence will give you guys our top 5 NFL teams right now currently in the NFL. We're going to talk about Thursday night football matchup between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Chicago Bears as well. But we begin in the association and the NBA Finals as the Lakers beat the Miami Heat 102-96 in Game 4 in the bubble. The Lakers now lead the best-of-7 series 3-1. LeBron James had a bounce-back game, 28 points, shot 8 of 16 from the floor, 12 rebounds. Anthony Davis contributed 22 points, 9 rebounds. Jimmy Butler dropped 22 points, 10 rebounds for the Miami Heat. Tyler Hero also had 21 points. Clarence. So as we open up the show today, first question. What was your biggest takeaway from the Lakers' Game 4 win in that game? What was your biggest takeaway from that game?
I think the biggest takeaway in this game was both teams was competitive, and both of these teams hasn't taken a lot of shots. You know, they totaled out 16 and 17 and 18 shot attempts throughout the game, and you just see like they was balanced out from their starters to their bench players. And I think for this Lakers team, their bench was amazing in this game, and they definitely produced when it was needed. And LeBron James and AD, they just dominated. It's a coincidence they shot the same field goal, 8 out of 16, and that right there, that just balanced out to their team, Trey. And they're on their way to their finals. since 2010. Like, it's actually about to be a reality, and we might can see it on Friday, or maybe not. But it looks like the Lakers in this driver's seat right now. They're up 3-1. No other team in the playoffs even went past 5 games. So it's just looking fair and square like the LA Lakers. They about to close out the Miami Heat.
Oh, I'm sorry. My bad. My biggest takeaway from this game was Frank Vogel making the adjustment and putting Anthony Davis on Jimmy Butler. You know, that was the biggest adjustment that I saw. And Anthony Davis, the runner-up for Defensive Player of the Year, he guarded Jimmy Butler. And Jimmy Butler started off the game high. I think he had like 11 points in the first quarter clearance. He was like 5 of 5 from the floor. But the rest of the way, Anthony Davis put the clamps on Jimmy Butler, and Jimmy Butler struggled to get into a rhythm offensively. And if you remember, in Game 3, that was the key for the Miami Heat. Jimmy Butler had 40 points, didn't even shoot a 3-point shot and dropped 40 points, but also had like 10 rebounds and 10 assists. Like he had he had a triple-double. So he balled out, I believe, in Game 3. But Frank Vogel made a key adjustment, putting his defensive anchor, like Anthony Davis, on Jimmy Butler. And that was the biggest difference in Game 4, in my opinion. I believe Anthony Davis's defense on Jimmy Butler was the difference. And I think that's what helped the Lakers in this game. For LeBron James, he struggled in the first half, Clarence. He only had 8 points, I believe, in the first half. But in the second half, he got it going, dropping 20 points. He was in attack mode, from the third quarter on. And you could see, he could tell that it was his time to take over that game. He knew, like, man, this game is too close. This game is too close for our comfort. We do not want to give the Miami Heat any life and have them even up this series, because you never know what could happen in a Game 5. Hell, maybe even Gordon Dragic somehow gets healthy, and the Miami Heat will be in a rhythm, and they'll have all the momentum. So LeBron James slammed the door shut on the Miami Heat chances to win the NBA Finals with his second half performance, putting up 20 points, and proved why he still is the best player on the planet. I was very impressed with LeBron James in the second half, Clarence, because his team needed it. And I also want to give some credit to Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. He has been playing great in these NBA playoffs. And in Game 4, he had some key shots for the Lakers. We always talk about who is going to be that shooter that steps up for the Lakers. Is it going to be Marquise Morris? Is it going to be Kyle Kuzma? Is it going to be Danny Green? Last night, it was KCP, and he did a great job hitting perimeter shots, for the Lakers when they needed him to do so. And one more thing I want to say, another takeaway from this game was the Miami Heat, they played well in this game, and they played well enough to win, but they never hit those key shots that could put them over the top and possibly take the lead over the Lakers. Did you get that feeling? Like, I got the feeling watching the game, like, man, if Miami could hit this one 3-point shot, they'll have an opportunity to take the lead. I remember in the fourth quarter, the Lakers were winning by like 2 points. Jimmy Butler had a 3-point attempt. He missed it. Lakers come back down on the other end. LeBron passes out to KCP. He hits the 3-point shot, and the Lakers are up 5. And so at that point, the Lakers took full control of the game, but that was a 5-point swing. If Jimmy Butler hits his 3-point shot, the Miami Heat go up 1 point, and you never know what the outcome could be. So I just thought the Miami Heat, they missed some opportunities at being able to take the lead at different points in this game. And that was the difference. So it was Anthony Davis' defense on Jimmy Butler, Miami Heat missing their key opportunities, and LeBron James taking over the second half.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that was the most like the most smartest thing Frank Vogel did. He put Anthony Davis on Jimmy Butler, because obviously Jimmy Butler wasn't taking a lot of 3-point shots, and he had the advantage because he's tall, strength, and he's tall, he's strong, and he's very athletic. So I think that was a good matchup on the defensive side. And LeBron, and like you said, for LeBron, he just turned it up. Once he get high, like, it ain't no way he's slowing down LeBron James anyway as it is. But I just think for this Miami Heat team though, Trey, this Heat team, like, they fight hard, but they're not putting enough points. They're not hitting enough smart shots in this game. Like, I was watching this game, Tyler Hero, he was looking for the 3. He couldn't even set up to get a 3. Duncan Robinson is getting guarded by Danny Green. Like, so he couldn't even get no barely separation. Only separation he could possibly get is he bringing the ball up court, or he just getting that one pass right there. So this LA team is playing tremendous on the defensive side, and I think they found their blueprint of beating this Miami Heat team. Take away the 3-point shot, they get them confused of what they gonna do next.
I got something else I noticed as I watched Game 4 too. You know, Bam Adebayo, he returned back to action in this game, and I actually think the Miami Heat played better in this series with Bam on the sideline clearance and Kelly Olynyk in. Let me explain why. Because Kelly Olynyk can hit the perimeter shot. So Kelly Olynyk basically, you know, eliminates the Lakers being able to play Dwight Howard or JaVale McGee. They have to bring in Anthony Davis at the 5. I think when you have Kelly Olynyk in there, Dwight Howard, it brings him out to the perimeter. So that takes away your shot blocking, you know, down there in the paint. So I think Kelly Olynyk was more beneficial for the Miami Heat in this particular series, even more so than Bam. I know Bam is going to be an all-star, you know, for future seasons to come. He has a bright future ahead of him, and he completely dominated the Eastern Conference Finals. I told you that on last show. Like, the last show we talked about it, Bam Adebayo was the best player in the Eastern Conference. And that's saying a lot when you're going up against a Jason Tatum, an up-and-coming superstar, a Kemba Walker, a proven guard in this league, you know, and you also have Jimmy Butler on your team, who is a proven star, you know, in this league. So Bam Adebayo was the best player in the Eastern Conference. But I feel like in a series like this, when you have Bam Adebayo in your lineup, it kind of plays right into the Lakers' hands because Bam can't hit the perimeter shot like Kelly Olynyk. So you can have Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee in the game, and they can help defend Bam Adebayo, you know, compared to having to run out on the perimeter and chase Kelly Olynyk around the perimeter. So that was another thing I noticed in Game 4. To that you say what?
I think that like when Bam was out, he didn't give him the advantage to win the game because he doesn't have the confident jump shot. And for Kelly Olynyk, he's very versatile on the offensive side. You know, he can play the post and 3-point shot, and he gave them an advantage. I just think in this situation that if you see Kelly Olynyk like dominating on both ends of the floor, you have to play him more. You have to like put him into the scheme. You have to give him time to like adjust. And he's been adjusting. He had like 27 points. Game 2? I mean, no, Game 2. I think he had like 18 points. Game 3 he had like 27 points. So he's been contributing on the offensive side. So I think for Bam Adebayo that he just have to like, you know, defend. He has to defend on the defensive side because he brings that to that Heat team as defense. So I think he should like worry about defending and working the low post because he don't have that confident jump shot, Trey.
Let's talk about Rajon Rondo. Describe the impact that Rajon Rondo has had for the Lakers in the playoffs.
I think for Rondo, I think his impact for this Lakers team has been phenomenal. You know, that he gives them another ball handler on the team that if players want to play their true positions, that he can be the pass first type of guy, that the point guard that he can be for this team. And he's a great facilitator as it is. And he's actually been working on his shot. And believe it or not, he's contributing on the scoring side too. You've seen a few games. He knocked down a couple threes, had 20-point outage, and he's been contributing like on both sides of the floor. I think he's one of the important veterans in his locker room, Trey, that voices everything and help the young ones grow and develop into their game. So he's a very key part into this Lakers team. I think without him, their guard play wouldn't be as good as it is right now.
I agree with you, man. The impact that Rajon Rondo has had on this Lakers team is something that we have to look at that helped them win this NBA championship, Clarence, because I'm going to go on record and say it now. I think this NBA Finals is over. I expect the Lakers to take care of business on Friday night and kill all the suspense that's left in this series. You know, there's no suspense left. It's over. Okay, the NBA season is officially over with, and, you know, they're going to take care of business, but we cannot, you know, underestimate the value that Rajon Rondo has on this Lakers team. Rajon Rondo is one of those players who he shines when the lights are at his brightest. And, you know, some players, when they get into these moments in the NBA Finals or in the NBA playoffs, Clarence, they just don't live up to expectations. And you can tell the pressure gets to them. Like, they can't handle the pressure that comes with the playoffs. They can't handle the pressure that comes with the NBA Finals. There's a superstar by the name of James Harden, who I believe lets pressure get to him in those key pivotal moments in playoff games. When you agree, like, as great as James Harden is, as great of a scorer that James Harden is, James Harden is one of the greatest scorers in this generation, one of the greatest scorers in NBA history. But we've seen James Harden have playoff meltdowns. Rajon Rondo is the complete opposite. He is built different, and this playoff Rondo is real. Okay, this is a real thing because he knows how to elevate his game in the postseason to help his team win games. And the fact that he's able to take LeBron off the ball and help the Lakers offense, execute is one of the things that we have to look at as something that's great about Rajon Rondo and what he brings to the table. He takes LeBron James off the ball, so LeBron James can, get some rest. You can Frank Vogel can even take LeBron James. Frank Vogel can even take LeBron James out of the game for a few minutes, and the offense will still run effectively because you have a great point guard like Rajon Rondo in the game. And even when LeBron's on the court, Rajon Rondo can take over some of those ball handling responsibilities, and LeBron James can get in the post and post up and be more of a scorer than even a facilitator because he has Rajon Rondo running the show. So I can't say enough about the job that Rajon Rondo has done and the impact that he has had on this Lakers team in these NBA playoffs. And I got to give Rajon Rondo a lot of credit for what he's done for this Lakers team, Clarence.
Yeah, he's definitely played a key piece to this Lakers team. I think he deserves a lot of credit, and believe it or not, if he gets on the market, he should not be waiting for a long time to get picked up.
For sure. So we all know the outcome of the NBA Finals. We know the Lakers are going to win a championship. More than likely it's going to be Friday. I believe LeBron, Anthony Davis, Frank Vogel, Dwight Howard, Clarence, I believe they are ready to go home. I think they're tired of playing in the bubble. So I think the finals will be over Friday nights in the bubble. And the Lakers will win this series 4-1. So the only thing left that is up in the air and that's leaving us wondering what's the outcome going to be is the NBA Finals MVP. So right now, Mr. Nixon, before we even see Game 5, who is your NBA Finals MVP? And let's not forget, before the series, I had AD, you had LeBron. Who is your Finals MVP right now?
Well, I was going to say this. Whoever has the better performance in Game 5, they should deserve the Finals MVP because we both know the Lakers about to win this championship game. And we should have just, whoever has the best performance in Game 5 should deserve the Finals MVP. But to me, I think LeBron, he about to seal this in a bag because he helped balance the team out, and he was very effective on both sides of the floor, and he's been a strong leader and a strong mentor to AD. AD is coming to himself, turning into the premium superstar he's supposed to be and what he is about to be. And I think without Bron, though, they won't make it as far as they is, though. But if he has a stellar performance, he should be deserved Finals MVP. I guarantee you, I think LeBron James is going to get that Finals MVP.
I'm disagreeing with you. I'm going to roll with Anthony Davis. I think Anthony Davis has been the best player on the floor so far in these 4 games, but he was kind of off in Game 3. I didn't like the fact that he only had 9 shot attempts in Game 3. He was in foul trouble, so maybe that contributed to him not being as aggressive as he normally is. But I think Anthony Davis has been the best Laker so far in the NBA playoffs, Clarence. I think Anthony Davis has completely dominated, the games that he's played in. In the first round, he dominated the Portland Trailblazers, my Portland Trailblazers, Nurkic. He got the best of Nurkic in that series. In round 2, the Houston Rockets, they had nobody that could guard Anthony Davis, okay? PJ Tucker, I love PJ Tucker, but he has no chance in hell at being able to guard Anthony Davis. And let's get to the Western Conference Finals. Do you really think the Joker is going to be able to guard Anthony Davis throughout the stretch of a 7-game series? Not going to happen. Anthony Davis, balled out against the Nuggets in the Western Conference Finals, and he even had a game-winning buzzer-beating shot in Game 2. And in the NBA Finals, he's completely dominated for the most part. Like I said, with the exception of Game 3, when he only shot 9 shot attempts, he still went 6 of 9 from the floor, so he was very efficient. He's played pretty well so far in these NBA finals. And I believe even for future seasons to come, Clarence, I think Anthony Davis will be the best Laker, but I think LeBron James will be the most important Laker. Like, I think LeBron is obviously past his prime. Anthony Davis, you can make an argument, is entering his prime. So, that's something to keep an eye on, for future seasons to come, and something that we got to continue to keep our eyes on. So, I think Anthony Davis should win NBA Finals MVP. You still got LeBron. We'll see what happens. But I want to ask you one more question. I want to spice it up a little bit. Let's switch gears. We're still talking about the NBA, though, but we're not going to talk about the NBA Finals because we already know the outcome of that. How much of a gap right now is it between LeBron James and the rest of the NBA? And who would you say is behind LeBron right now? Who's the second best player in the NBA right now? And how much of a gap is it between LeBron James and whoever you believe is the second best player right now in the NBA? I'm putting you on the spot. Who you got?
Man, I think that's a good question because, we got the KD, we got the Kawhis, we got the Luka coming up, we got the James Harden, got the Russell Westbrook. Not saying all of them is number 2 behind LeBron James though, but this is weird though because KD I guess when he come back this season he has to prove that he is like one of the greatest players of all time. Like this is like when.
What do you mean he got to? What do you mean he got to prove it? What do you mean he got to prove? He's already proven that.
I think he got to prove himself. Like he's like a strong leader. He's a strong leader to his team, and his legacy carries on. So you know what I'm saying? Like he already got 2 rings and 2 Finals MVP. And I think he want to prove everyone that he's a leader to his team. So I think that's his testimony right there for that season. And for Kawhi, I just feel like his leadership was better than KD's, and he led a team into the playoffs and won to NBA Finals. Regardless, he got knocked out the second round against the Denver Nuggets. He still performed. He still performed at best in that Clippers series. If you had to ask me, I probably would say Kawhi Leonard, like number 2.
Wow. Okay, so Kawhi Leonard. Okay, let me break this down for you, okay? To me, when I look at who's the second best player in the world right now, I think LeBron is number 1, but I do not believe there's a significant gap in him and the second best player in the world. When I look at Giannis, the Greek Freak, to me, what hurts Giannis is his limitations offensively. I told you this before, Clarence. Because he doesn't have a consistent jump shot, this is why I can't say he's better than LeBron James. This is why I can't say he's better than Kevin Durant. This is why I can't say he's better than Kawhi Leonard. What makes a player great is when you take away their greatest strength and they have another alternative move that they can go to be able to score. Giannis doesn't have that yet in his arsenal. That's why I don't believe Giannis is the best player in the NBA right now. And that's why I don't believe he's the second best player in the league. I give Giannis a lot of credit because he is a 2-time NBA MVP, although I believe LeBron James should have won NBA MVP this year. But Giannis won the MVP award, and he is one of the best defensive players we have in the NBA. He's a great 2-way player. And we know once Giannis gets in the paint, he's unstoppable. And once he develops a consistent jump shot, you can make an argument that Giannis will be unguardable. Okay? When I look at Kawhi Leonard, as great as Kawhi Leonard is, Kawhi Leonard had to develop into what he is now. At one point in his career, Kawhi Leonard was a 4th option on a championship team. When Kawhi Leonard won his first NBA Finals MVP, Kawhi Leonard was the 4th option on that Spurs team, Clarence.
He was the main focal point on that team. Let's not get
No, he was not. No, he wasn't. Defensively, he was the main focal point. Hold on. Defensively, he was the main focal point because he had to guard LeBron James in those NBA Finals matchups. But as far as who are the top scorers on that team, it was Tim Duncan, it was Tony Parker, and it was Manu Ginobili. I believe Kawhi Leonard was the
guys. None of them guys average was more than Kawhi. I guarantee Tony Parker actually was the lead scorer, and it was Kawhi Leonard. So I just don't understand how everybody think he was a 4th option on the team.
Because hold on, was there any significant gap in Kawhi Leonard's scoring averages? You know, the year he won Finals MVP, the year when the Spurs beat the Miami Heat. I think it was 2014, the 2014 NBA Finals. Was there a significant gap? No, it was 14. 13 was the year Miami won. Remember, they won, and they were supposed to lose. Yeah. Remember, they were supposed to lose that finals, but Ray Allen saved LeBron James' legacy with that game-time three-point shot. But in the 2014 NBA Finals, the year Kawhi won NBA MVP, was there a significant gap in his scoring averages in that NBA Finals? It wasn't. That was a balanced team in the scoring department. Tim Duncan averaged almost 13, 14 points per game. Tony Parker averaged, I think, like 15 points per game. Manu Ginobili, he averaged over 10 points per game. So it was a balanced scoring team. So I believe when Kawhi Leonard first entered the NBA, Kawhi Leonard was limited offensively. I would say he just got good offensively and then a great scorer, back in probably 2015, 2016. But before that, he was limited. I think the second best player in the NBA right now, even though he was injured this season, is Kevin Durant. And let me explain to you why. We're talking about a two-time NBA Finals MVP, a two-time NBA champion, and guess what? Kevin Durant in his career has never averaged below 20 points per game at any point in his career. And this is playing with Russell Westbrook, someone who many people believe is hard to play with. Kevin Durant never averaged below 20 points per game in his NBA career, and he's always been the number one scoring option on any team he's been on. Also, he's won an NBA MVP, something that Kawhi Leonard hasn't won at any point in his career. So I believe Kevin Durant is the second best player in the NBA over the Greek Freak and Kawhi Leonard.
It's debatable until he's proven innocent for this season coming up. So I got to see how he is going to play in Brooklyn before I say he's the second best player, Trey.
Because I just believe that Kevin Durant has been doing it for a longer stretch than Kawhi Leonard has. Like Kevin Durant coming out of Texas, he had high expectations the moment he came into the league. Kawhi Leonard didn't have those expectations that Kevin Durant had. That's the difference for me. I think Kevin Durant has done it over a longer stretch than Kawhi has. I'm not taking nothing away from Kawhi because I think Kawhi's better than the Greek Freak. I do. I think Kawhi's better than the Greek Freak. And he proved it last year in the Eastern Conference Finals when the Raptors beat Kawhi in the Bucks. Yes. So I think right now, when it comes to NBA players, top three, I'm going LeBron, KD, Kawhi, and then, after that, we can have a conversation about everyone else.
Let's move on, man. Let's move on to the NFL, man. Let's talk about this Thursday night matchup, Trey, between two juggernaut teams. Let's talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that are coming into this matchup as 3-1, going into Soldier Field against the Chicago Bears. They'll be aired 8:20 tomorrow. That's the first game on Fox. About time, baby. About time. Hey, let me tell you about a little fun fact about this fun matchup. The Bears lead the series all time 39-20 against the Bucs. They last meet and they played September the 30th, 2018. Mitchell Trubisky had a phenomenal game. He threw for 354 and six passing touchdowns and including 53 passing yards. Tariq Cohen's, he had 7 receptions, 121 yards, and a touchdown. But unfortunately, Mitchell Trubisky got benched, and Tariq Cohen is out for the season. And let's get on the other side about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Brady is 12-2 on Thursday Night Football, and he's 5-0 all time against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And his career numbers is 14 touchdowns and 4 interceptions and 5 career games against the Chicago Bears. So, Trey, let me start you off with the first question. Give me the keys to this matchup.
Okay, the keys for the Chicago Bears is going to be, can they put up points offensively? Last week, going up against ranked defense in the NFL, Nick Foles and the Chicago Bears offense struggled, Clarence. They struggled. They only had 11 points in that game. It was god-awful watching them perform in that game. And Phillip Rivers and the Colts offense didn't do very much themselves. They only had 1 touchdown, and they had, I believe, 4 field goals. But because the Bears offense was so anemic, they didn't have to do very much. So one of the keys for me is going to be, can Nick Foles and Matt Nagy keep pace with Tom Brady and Bruce Arians? Because we know Tom Brady's going to put up points. We saw last week going up against the Chargers, Tom Brady dropped 38 on the Chargers, and we know the Chargers have one of the best secondaries in the NFL. And Tom Brady had 5 touchdowns, I believe, and he's getting into a rhythm offensively with these weapons that he has. You know, Mike Evans had a big game last week. You know, Chris Godwin isn't even playing right now, and I can only imagine what happens when he returns back to the lineup. But you got Mike Evans, you got Rob Gronkowski. You know, you still got, you know, Leonard Fournette and LaShawn McCoy. So I think the way that we're seeing this Bucs offense play at a high level is going to be very important for Nick Foles and the Chicago Bears offense to put up points so that they can keep pace in this game. Because if they don't score enough points, Clarence, they can get blown off the field. And this game played in Chicago, it's played in Tampa Bay. Chicago? Okay, it's in Chicago. Okay, so it may get a little chilly because we know Chicago, you know, in the fall and wintertime, it gets cold, Clarence. It gets pretty cold. So if the Bears want to have any chance at winning this game, they have to put up points. For the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I believe defensively, they have to get stops. When you have a high-powered offense like the Bucs have, and you have the greatest quarterback of all time and Tom Brady pulling the trigger, you want to give Tom Brady and that offense more opportunities to put points up on the board. So I think the Tampa Bay defense is going to be critical for the Bucs to get a win in this game. So that's the key matchup for me. The Chicago Bears offense going up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. Whichever unit wins that particular matchup, I believe will have the upper hand and win this game ultimately.
You have some good points there, Trey. You have some good points, sure. But let me tell you about my keys to the matchup. In this matchup, let me start off with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And you know, their last playoff appearance was 2007, so they're making a playoff push as they plan right now. They're 3-1, and believe it or not, people don't really talk about this defense that they have. You know, they're tied third in sacks, they fourth in yards allowed. Their pass defense ranked 4th, the rush defense ranked 2nd. So this is actually a top 5 defense that they had. This Buccaneers team is well balanced. And I think one of the keys for this game is, can Tom Brady get it going early? Because, like you said, this defense, the Chicago defense is not fearful. So can he get it early with Mike Evans? And you forgot Scotty Miller, man. I really like Scotty Miller. He's a good receiver. He's a very good slot. Can he get those guys going? And can the defense stop up? And my key for the Chicago Bears is, like, can Nick Foles lead them? Can he light a fuse on this team? Because this team has been struggling. Like statistically, they've been struggling for 2 or 3 seasons. Can Nick Foles give them that spark? Because right now they feel not confident in this season anymore because they don't have the confidence. But I think it starts right here tomorrow against this Tampa Bay Buccaneers, because they're a juggernaut team, and you're a team that's very questionable. They're very questionable about your gameplay. So can this Chicago's Bears be a forceful team to this good defense that the Buccaneers have?
Yeah, and one thing else I'm looking for in this game, can Nick Foles be effective in the passing game for the Bears? Because I talked about this with my cousin a couple of days ago, Clarence. For some reason, Nick Foles, he does well when you least expect him to do well. Like when you seen when the Bears inserted him into the starting lineup and they benched Mitchell Trubisky against the Atlanta Falcons a few weeks ago, in the fourth quarter, the Chicago Bears trailed the Atlanta Falcons like 26-10. And Nick Foles brought the Bears all the way back, and they won that game. Foles' magic is real. And then you remember in the 2017 season when Carson Wentz got injured, Nick Foles came in and he led the Philadelphia Eagles to the Super Bowl, where Nick Foles outplayed Tom Brady. And Tom Brady actually played well in that Super Bowl, Clarence. He played well, and Nick Foles balled out. But then remember the following season, Carson Wentz started before he got injured again. And I think Nick Foles came into the starting lineup, and the Eagles were like 5-6 on the season or something. I can't remember exactly what their record was, but you remember Nick Foles got to the playoffs, and he beat the Chicago Bears and Khalil Mack in the wild card matchup. You remember that?
Yeah.
He got the win in that matchup, and then he went to the divisional round, and they played Drew Brees and the Saints tough in the Superdome. I think they were like one catch away from putting themselves in position to push that game into overtime. Like Nick Foles played pretty well against Drew Brees in the Superdome. I think Alshon Jeffrey missed like a catch, like, and that ended up messing up the Eagles' offense, and they weren't able to convert on a fourth down, but they were in position to get to the NFC Championship. So I want to see if Nick Foles can be consistent when a team has an entire week to prepare for him. Because I think sometimes he does well when he comes in when there's chaos. He does well under chaos. But when a team has an opportunity to prepare for him, he struggles. That's what we saw last week against Frank Wright in the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts had an opportunity to prepare for Nick Foles and game plan, around his strengths. And that's why we saw the Chicago Bears offense not even put up over 300 yards of offense totally because Nick Foles struggled. So I want to see if Nick Foles can do a great job at leading this Bears offense at being able to put up some points, even when the opposing team has an entire, week to prepare for him.
Yeah. So let me ask you this though, Trey. Which unit is more likely to dominate the game, the Bucs offense or the Bears defense?
I'll say the Bucs offense because they're being led by the greatest quarterback of all time in Tom Brady. And I think Tom Brady is getting into a rhythm right now. And, I think you can make an argument he's a dark horse for an MVP honors. Like, he's not where Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson is right now, but Tom Brady has been really, really flinging that football over the last few weeks, Clarence. And him putting up 5 touchdowns last week against that Chargers secondary was very, very impressive to me. So I think right now I got to give the slight edge to the Bucs offense over the Bears defense because of Tom Brady leading the charge. But I think the Bears defense will have an impact on this game, but I just think Tom Brady will be too much for them in the end.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I think this Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense is too powerful. Imagine if they had all their players back healthy. And, unfortunately, O.J. Howard, he's out for the season with a torn Achilles. So they're down to Cameron Brate and Rob Gronkowski. Imagine they had Chris Godwin back, Leonard Fournette, Ronald Jones, et cetera, et cetera. If they have those guys back healthy, this will be a dangerous Tampa Bay team. They're already dangerous because Tom Brady is leading this team. Him and Mike Evans, they're dominating, and their chemistry is well connected. And I think for this Tampa Bay offense, they're a juggernaut team. They're an elite offense. So I think they're going to dominate the game tonight. I think Khalil Mack probably don't even get more than one sack.
You mean tomorrow night? They play tomorrow night.
Yeah, I know, tomorrow night.
Everybody remember, go follow Wise Guys on Twitter at WiseGuys_Wait. Also on Facebook, Wise Guys. And be sure to follow Wise Guys on Instagram at These Guys Know Sports. We're live here on the Worldwide Sports Network. So, Clarence, another question. Which team is most likely to win their division?
Which team most likely to win their division? It's obviously the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because the Saints struggling. They don't have no reliable pass catcher. They don't know when Michael Thomas is coming back. And the Atlanta Falcons, they're struggling. They're 0-4. So they're not even in playoff contention. The last team that started the season 0-4 made the playoffs was the 1992 Chargers, but I don't believe that they're gonna change the history. But I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is in the driver's seat of their division because they have the better record. They play everybody hard, and they definitely was, turned into a juggernaut team.
It's easily the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because so far this season,
right,
Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints, they've been struggling. I know they got into a rhythm, against the Detroit Lions on Sunday, but it is the Lions, for crying out loud. How much credit do you expect me to give you when you beat the Detroit Lions? This is a team led by Matt Patricia, and this is someone who we have questions about, Clarence, as to whether or not he can lead this Detroit Lions team to the playoffs, okay? Yeah. We talked about Adam Gase in the New York Jets. You know how I feel about him. We talked about Bill O'Brien, who finally got fired this week, and I'm so happy for the Deshaun Watson and Texas fans. We got to start looking at Matt Patricia and seeing if he can even lead the Detroit Lions back to the postseason. But how much credit am I supposed to give Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints for taking care of business against the Detroit Lions? Not much, in my opinion. So, they've been struggling so far this year. And you're right. They've been missing Michael Thomas. They have to get Michael Thomas back. The impact that Michael Thomas has on this New Orleans Saints offense is something that cannot be, just shoved under the rug. This is something that's very, very important for us to keep in mind. Like, the impact that he has on this team is something that's important. So, that's something that we have to keep in mind. But obviously, the answer to this question is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, because the Chicago Bears have no chance in hell with beating my Green Bay Packers out in the NFC North. You know it, and I know it, Clarence. Right now, Aaron Rodgers has 13 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He's thrown for close to 1,000 passing yards on the season. He is in the MVP conversation right now, right along with Russell Wilson. I believe right now the MVP is Russell Wilson, and then Aaron Rodgers is 1A. Okay, Aaron Rodgers is having a hell of a season this year, and the Chicago Bears, he may be number. I mean, we can have that conversation on Friday. So we can have that conversation on Friday. So don't you disrespect my quarterback, not tonight. But what I'm saying is the Chicago Bears have no chance at winning the NFC North because the Green Bay Packers are the more superior team. And also, we let go of Jimmy Graham. And guess who picked him up? The Chicago Bears. So clearly the Chicago Bears don't want to win because Jimmy Graham, Clarence, he can't produce anymore. He's slow. Okay? So, me and you can go out there, Jimmy Graham. Me and you can go out there and run faster than Jimmy Graham. I mean, he's awful. So I think the Packers are the favorites to win the NFC North. So I have to give the edge to the Buccaneers as being the team that is most likely to win their division when comparing them to the Chicago Bears.
So who wins tomorrow?
Tampa Bay will win tomorrow. I think Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will win this game. I'm not going to pick Nick Foles and the Chicago Bears to mess up my picks for the week because I'm trying to win this bet that we got going on, man. And by the way, everybody, remember to keep tabs on me and Clarence's picks throughout the week because we do our wise picks every Friday. So, Clarence, we have a friendly wager to whichever one of us has the most wins at the end of the season, we have to pay up. This is a wager between us. So we want our fans out there to keep tabs and keep updates on who is winning that battle at our wise picks. We pick our games every Friday. We're going to be doing it this Friday again for week 4. So I'm not going to pick the Chicago Bears in an upset, Clarence, and they mess up my damn pick. I'm rolling with Tom Brady, the GOAT, to beat the Chicago Bears. I'll say Tom Brady 27, Nick Foles 17.
See, here's the thing. Unfortunately, I have Nick Foles starting in my fantasy, and it's like, God, I'm trying to have somebody replace him, and it's hard. And I just think this Tampa Bay team is so dominant on both sides of the ball, so they going to have the advantage. So I got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers winning this margin. I got them winning 42-31. Tom Brady throw 5 more touchdowns.
Okay. All right, let's go to our next NFL topic of the day. And let's discuss our top 5 NFL teams right now, as we head into week 5. Which top 5 team do you believe, has the highest chance to win the Super Bowl odds? But first, before that, give me your top 5 NFL teams right now, 5-1. You ready for it? I'm ready for it. I got mine ready. You ready to go with yours? I got mine. You want me to go first? You want to go first?
You want to go first?
I go first. I got it. You ready to go?
Yep.
Give me a drum roll. Ready to go. All right, let's get it going. Let's start off with number 5 with those Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm rolling with Tom Brady and the Buccaneers, Clarence. Right now, they're 3-1 on the season. They are leading the NFC South. I believe Tom Brady is getting into a rhythm offensively with his weapons. They have Mike Evans. Chris Godwin is going to come back. I love Leonard Fournette and LaShawn McCoy in the backfield. I still believe Rob Gronkowski can contribute on a high-powered offense and make some plays for his team down the stretch. I like the way Bruce Arians is coaching his team right now, and they impressed me with a 38-point performance in week 4 against the Los Angeles Chargers, a team who actually plays pretty well defensively. I got the Bucs at 5. Let's move on to number 4. I got the Baltimore Ravens as number 4 because right now, Lamar Jackson is still one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. I know Lamar Jackson struggles going up against Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. They are his kryptonite, but I am not going to forget about what Lamar Jackson does to the rest of the NFL. Lamar Jackson is one of the top NFL quarterbacks we have in the league, and the Baltimore Ravens right now are 3-1 on the season. I'm not going to let one bad performance on Monday Night Football against Patrick Mahomes mess up my thinking and, completely brainwash me into believing that somehow the Baltimore Ravens are in the top 5 team in the NFL. Baltimore at number 4. Let's move on to number 3, Clarence. That is the Seattle Seahawks, led by Russell Wilson, the leader in the NFL MVP race right now. So far in the season, Russell Wilson has 14 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He's completing, I think, like 77% of his passes. That was last week. I don't know what his numbers are exactly right now. But actually, I think Russell Wilson got 16 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, if I'm not mistaken. So I was wrong about that, those first statistical numbers. I think it's 16-2 right now for Russell Wilson. We saw Russell Wilson put up 5 touchdowns against a Bill Belichick-led defense and the New England Patriots a few weeks ago on Sunday Night Football. Right now, I think the Seattle Seahawks are one of the top teams in the NFC, and they are the leaders right now in the NFC West. I like the job that Pete Carroll was doing leading his football team, right now at 4-0. I think they got to get better defensively, Clarence. They struggle getting stops. But I like the way Russell Wilson is playing right now with his 16 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Let's get to the number 2 team right now in the NFL. You ready for this?
Yeah, I'm ready for this.
I might surprise you with this one. The Super Bowl defending champs are at number 2. That's the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. I saw the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes ball out against Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots. But the reason why I can't put them at number 1, Clarence, is because although they balled out, I saw the Kansas City Chiefs struggle a little bit in that matchup against Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots. Okay? I saw the Kansas City Chiefs struggle in week 2 going up against the Los Angeles Chargers, and they couldn't really get into a rhythm. That was a game where the Chargers had an opportunity to win that game. Okay, the Chiefs only won by a field goal. We still know they have Patrick Mahomes. We know they have one of the best tight ends in pro football in Travis Kelce, and they got one of the best coaches in the NFL in Andy Reid. We know Tyreek Hill is a top 10 receiver in the NFL, and Eric Bieniemy deserves an NFL coaching job. But I've seen the Kansas City Chiefs struggle at times this season. They can't be number 1 because number 1 is my Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers. Heading into the bye, Aaron Rodgers on the season, 13 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. You've seen him put on that virtuoso performance, Clarence, on Monday Night Football, going up against the Atlanta Falcons. Yes, Aaron Rodgers, no Devontae Adams, no Allen Lazard, no problem for the great Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers still balled out, and Aaron Rodgers is in that MVP conversation with Russell Wilson. We still have an elusive back in Aaron Jones, one of the best backs in the NFL, if you ask me. We also have a great coach in Matt LaFleur. So far in his coaching career, Matt LaFleur has a 17-3 record, as the Packers head coach. That's the best record in Packer history. And there's been some great coaches in the Packers history, Clarence. Mike McCarthy, Mike Holmgren, Vince Lombardi. Matt LaFleur has the best record, since he's taken over as head coach of the Green Bay Packers. I got the Packers at number 1. So I got 5 Bucks, 4 Ravens, 3 Seahawks, 2 Chiefs, 1 Packers. The floor is yours.
Good. I like your list. But this list right here is about to blow your mind because it's blowing my mind right now. I'm going to start off with number 5 right here is the Pittsburgh Steelers because I believe that the Pittsburgh Steelers have one of the best defense in the game, and they blitz a lot on all their plays, and they're always bringing an extra man to blitz. And T.J. Watt, he's been dominated on one of the best defensive ends, pass rushers in the league. He actually lead the league and forced fumbles with 15. So I think that's very impressive. And Big Ben, their offense is still questionable, but I still will take that bet on them because the simple fact they got a great defense behind them, and I believe that they are definitely number 5 on my list. And number 4, I want to start off with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm excited for Tom Brady and what he's doing here. They 3-1. He threw 5 touchdowns last game. You know, that was a 7 game to throw 5 touchdowns. He's actually 7-0 in those games when he throws 5 touchdowns. So he's been very impressive. Regardless been the injuries on the offense, he's still been that leader and carrying that team. So I think that right there is like something you have to like let slide because it's naturally to him because that's what he wants to bring and want to accomplish. He want to accomplish a lot for the city of Tampa. But I'm gonna start out and I'm gonna go to my number 3. My number 3 is your Green Bay Packers. Now, only I got them at number 3 though, Trey, because for the simple fact that they lost both of the receivers for we don't know how long they're gonna be out, but the simple fact that Aaron Rodgers still been leading the team, he's been phenomenal. He's been one of the key parts of the team. Him and Aaron Jones, it's been like an Aaron Jones show. But unfortunately, when you don't have your number 1 target, you be questionable. You get a lot of questions about that. But this Packers team has been one of the highest efficient teams. What?
We got Aaron Rodgers. I mean, even though we don't have our number 1 receiver, Aaron Rodgers offsets any limitations you may have.
Yeah.
But carry on.
Yeah. I mean, believe it or not, this Green Bay Packers is one of the highest efficient teams in the NFL right now. They got one of the, like, in my opinion, one of the best running backs in the league and one of the best quarterbacks in the league. So
go, Pack, go!
So yeah, it's like a double tangible. It's like a double tangible with this team though, and they keep the ship from sinking. So I got them at number 3 though, and once they get Devontae Adams and Alexander back, this team will be definitely back. You know, unfortunately, y'all lost Josiah DeGara for the season. You know, he's a UC kid, and I was looking forward for him. But they got Aaron Rodgers, and he's leading the pack. And I'm keeping track on y'all schedule. You know, y'all got a bye this week, and then next week y'all go to Tampa Bay. So that should be something very impressive. Now I'm going to number 2, the Seattle Seahawks. Like this right here, like Russell Wilson's on fire. He's taking more shots than he usually are. He's more comfortable. Pete Carroll gave him the playbook, and he actually just dominating. And when you watch Russell Wilson, you know, he take a lot of sacks and he get a lot of quarterback hits. When he get back up and fight, he keeps going. He's one of those guys that just keep chugging like a choo-choo train. So I'm very impressed of his statistic, 14 touchdowns and 1 interception. I'm like, wow, this is Russell Wilson making these spectacular plays. And DK Metcalf is the up next receiver that's going to be special in the years. And on the defense side, I like Jamal Adams. I like Bobby Wagner. They gives them a vocal leader on their team. But at the same time, they have to get the run against like the run defense together. But Seattle's my number 2 because Russell Wilson's on fire and he's favorable to win the MVP. Now my number 1 team is, you know who, man, the reigning champs, Kansas City Chiefs. That's Patrick Mahomes, man. He's been hot. He's been hot, like still. He's a proven quarterback, Trey. He's been dominating this league, dominated this Patriots team after a slow start. And I truly believe that he's gonna lead his team into the playoffs like as expected. And he's a bigger force than I believe than any quarterback in this league. And looking at his schedule is not that tough. It's not that hard. So he's got an easy schedule to maneuver through. You know, the one I'm looking at is next week on Thursday night against the Buffalo Bills. That would be a true test to the Buffalo Bills. But this Chiefs team, they have to stay on grounds though against this Buffalo team. But I got my list down packed. Number 5, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Number 4, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The 3, Green Bay Packers. 2, Seattle Seahawks. And 1, Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay, so I want to ask you a couple questions about your list, okay? I got some questions for you. You believe that the Pittsburgh Steelers are better than the Baltimore Ravens?
Statistically, yes. I truly believe that. I think they're like a better passing team than Baltimore. Baltimore is still lacking that number one receiver. You know, their leading receiver or favorable team is a tight end, Mark Andrews. So I think him and Lamar Jackson, they got like a strong connection towards each other, but he needs another like number 1 receiver to break out. And I think that's lacking him hard. The run game is fine, but at the same time, you have to pass in this league. And Big Ben, he takes a lot of shots so far. He's on pace to throw 5,000 passing yards again and throw at least 30 touchdowns. And he's not scared to throw the ball. This Steelers team is an air raid team, and I think they can move the ball in the air better than the Baltimore Ravens team.
See, I think I'll give the slight edge to the Baltimore Ravens right now. Also, I look at the Pittsburgh Steelers' schedule so far. The opponents that they've played, Clarence, have been weak opponents. I think in week 1 they played the Giants, and we know the Giants are god-awful. They lost Saquon Barkley for the season, but they are terrible. And we know they're in the NFC East, so, it's not going to get any better for them. They're in that terrible division, the worst division in pro football. What's so crazy about the NFC East is the Giants and the Washington football team still have a chance to win the NFC East. That's how bad the NFC East is. But the Steelers beat the Giants in week 1, and then I think the Steelers beat the Texans last week, and we know the Texans are 0-4 on the season. They've been a mess. So I think the Baltimore Ravens have played, tougher teams so far than the Pittsburgh Steelers. Also, you have the Seahawks ranked above my Packers right now. Why?
The only reason I got them above them because their receiver play has been better than the Green Bay Packers, and they're been balanced on the offensive side of the football. I think the Seahawks, they have a advantage in the receiving core than the Green Bay Packers. Don't get me wrong, Aaron Rodgers have a phenomenal season, but he doesn't have that constant receiver that's going to break out. Now, Michael Val-Scandalin, he's up next.
Devontae Adams?
Huh?
Devontae Adams?
No, I'm just saying he's out. He's out with an injury.
Okay.
Yeah, he's out with an injury. And who is that other receiver that's going to step up? I like Michael Van Scandalin. I think he has a lot of potential. And I think this actually his moment to step up to be the number 2 receiver behind Devontae Adams to show that he can play in this league. And another thing too, I was looking at their the Seattle Seahawks schedule right here. They got an easy way, in my opinion, against the Vikings, and then they on the road against Arizona, who's been struggling, lost 2 straight games, and I don't know how. And then they got San Francisco, Buffalo, Los Angeles Rams. So they got like a little mixture in their schedule.
Yeah.
But back to the Pittsburgh, their schedule started to get tough. They got Philly coming in, and believe it or not, they got Cleveland coming in. That's tough. So I think that's going to be a tough matchup as well. Then after that, Cleveland, they got 3 straight road games in Tennessee, Baltimore, and Dallas. So these top 5 teams that I named, their schedule is going to be very interesting to see, can they still remain in my top 5, or are they going to have a different top 5, right?
I want to address your pick about the Seahawks being better than my Packers right now. I disagree with you. I think the Packers have the better receiving core because they have the best receiver between the 2 teams. Like Devontae Adams is the best receiver between the 2 teams, and that is Aaron Rodgers' receiver, not Russell Wilson. I also believe the Packers have a better defense than the Seattle Seahawks. The Seattle Seahawks been giving up a lot of points, Clarence. They gave up 31 points to Dak Prescott and the Cowboys in week 3. And the Dolphins actually competed pretty well in that week 4 game against the Russell Wilson and the Seahawks. Seahawks didn't blow out the Miami Dolphins. I think the Packers defense with Zadarius Smith and Preston Smith, and then in the corners, you got Kevin King, Jair Alexander, in the secondary, and you got Adrian Amos, Darnell Savage on the back end. I like my Packers defense. I think they are going to get better as the season goes along. When you look at the Seattle Seahawks, they got Bobby Wagner and they got Jamal Adams, but for the most part, they've struggled to get stops this year. I think the Packers are the more complete team right now over the Seattle Seahawks. But I will admit, Russell Wilson is playing just a little bit better right now than Aaron Rodgers, just a slight bit, not much. This could change, as the season goes along. But, that's your list. I got my list. And, this is subject to change. We'll do this again, next week. This is fun. Definitely. Everybody remember go follow Wise Guys on Twitter at WiseGuys_H. Also on Facebook, Wise Guys. And be sure to follow Wise Guys on Instagram at These Guys Know Sports. We'll be live on Friday on the Worldwide Sports Networks, giving you our week 5 Wise picks and discussing the NBA finals between the Lakers and the Heat. So we'll see you guys on Friday. Clarence, you have a good night, bro.
You too.